Me, Jim Jones, myself. Gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones.
Look, no disrespect to Jim, but Jim's not even close. Shit Jim says doesn't even make sense compared to what Nas has done for our culture.
Most people have been in this game as long as I've been in the game and not here anymore. At all. They way gone. They can't compete. Not on this level. At all. I can compete at the top level right now.
Picture this. It's the early 2000s, New York City. The air is thick with the smell of pink fur, ambition, and the unmistakable sound of a revolution. The Diplomats' Dipset have taken over. They're louder, they're flyer, they're rewriting the rules of hip-hop right out of Harlem. And in the center of that hurricane, right next to the mastermind Cameron, is a hype man, the loud one, the muscle. A young Jim Jones, all energy and edge, making sure the world felt every word. Fast forward to today. That same hype man is a multi-platinum recording artist. He's a TV star, he's a mogul. By every metric of modern success, Jim Jones has won. He's got the gold records, the platinum plaques, the Billboard entries to prove it. But there's a problem.
Me, Jim Jones, myself. Gold records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, then check all them niggas' entries and shit like that. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody.
A ghost that's haunted his entire career. A question that follows him from the block to the boardroom, from Harlem to Hollywood. Why does hip-hop refuse to give him its respect? Welcome to Behind the Fame. Today, we're not just telling the story of Jim Jones. We're investigating a hip-hop cold case. We're digging into the evidence, the street testimonies, and the unspoken rules of the culture to answer the one question that defines his legacy. How did a man who achieved so much earn so little of the one thing he truly craved?
I'm a passionate brother. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I cry a lot of shit like that. I'm very emotional. So when people talk about me, I gotta stand up for me because nobody else gonna stand up for me, as you see. You heard? I fight all my battles on my own. I take losses and I take my wins the same way. You heard? The same smirk, just like this.
This is the story of the capo who never got his salute. Let's rewind the tape. The Dipset era. It was a perfect storm. Cameron was the visionary, the charismatic genius. Jules Santana was the young, flashy prodigy. And Jim was the engine room, the pressure. He was the one who made Cam's slick talk feel dangerous. He wasn't the lyricist, he wasn't the star, he was the energy. And for a while, that was enough. It worked. But here's the first crack in the foundation. The first piece of evidence in our case.
You should be home. Don't even mention it because what you talk about and how you looking is not reflecting of what we doing out here. You know what I mean? And not taking nothing away from you. You can tell your story and be humble about it, but if you're not looking apart and get to the bag, your story means nothing in the eyes of people that's really doing it and you trying to prove a point.
Respect in hip-hop isn't given for playing a role. It's earned for defining one. And Jim never truly defined himself outside of Cam's shadow. He was living on a blueprint he didn't draw. When Dipset started to fracture, that's when we saw the first signs of the identity crisis. Jim started calling himself the capo. He claimed he ran Dipset, but to the streets, to the fans who watched it all unfold, it didn't feel earned. It felt forced. People knew who built that empire. They knew whose vision it was. And when Jim tried to step into that crown, the culture pushed back. You can't just declare yourself a king. The kingdom has to anoint you. Even his massive hit, We Fly High, while undeniable, cemented a specific image.
Look, no disrespect to Jim, but Jim's not even close. Shit Jim says doesn't even make sense compared to what Nas has done for our culture.
He wasn't seen as a boss. He was seen as the lucky hustler who caught a wave, a flash in the pan with an unforgettable hook. The streets love a hit, but they worship a story. And Jim's story, at that point, was still being written by someone else. That's the first reason the respect never came. He built his name on another man's blueprint. And in this game, that makes you a tenant, not a landlord. Now, don't get it twisted. Jim Jones is a grinder, undeniable. He hustled his way from the background to the forefront, launching Vampire Life and becoming a face for Harlem all over again. But as he chased validation, the streets were watching and they were starting to side-eye him.
Most people been in this game as long as I've been in the game and not here anymore. At all. They way gone. They can't compete. Not on this level. At all. I can compete at the top level right now.
Why? Because a gap began to emerge. A gap between the persona and the person, between the mouth and the moves. Jim started claiming he was one of the last real street guys left. He talked that talk, but every time he did, whispers in the concrete jungle got louder. Stories surfaced that told a different tale. And then there's the incident. The one story that, true or not, became cemented in New York hip-hop folklore. The legendary night a Brooklyn street legend, Raw Digga, checked Jim Jones in front of everybody. The details are murky, debated in barbershops and on Twitter spaces to this day. But the outcome, in the court of public opinion, was decisive. Raw was certified. Jim looked like a rapper playing tough.
I never needed nowhere to stay. You act like on your couch. You was a fan. You begged us. You are a fan. A fan. We didn't grow up with you.
All for new and change, but I'm not for riding the coattail of and then getting to a place and trying to stun on the you was riding the whole time. I don't like that.
And in hip hop, that's a death sentence for credibility. Once people believe they've seen you fold in a real moment, it doesn't matter how many tough guy records you make afterward. The stain is permanent. This was the second crack, the credibility gap. He was mixing ego with a perceived insecurity. You can't fake confidence in hip hop. You either built it or you borrowed it. And every time Jim talked like an untouchable boss, people remembered the stories. They remembered he was Cameron's soldier long before he was ever his own general. All right, crew, we're diving deep into the evidence, and this is where the case gets really interesting. We've laid out the foundation, but the real turning point is coming up. The industry betrayals, the snitch rumors, the television spectacle, how Jim Jones traded a crown for a storyline.
Playing at a high level.
Hey,
You better check my record, you heard? I'm still playing at a high level. I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will run circles around Nas.
This is a deep dive you don't want to miss. If you're invested in uncovering the truth behind the fame, make sure you're subscribed and you hit that bell icon. We're breaking down the unspoken rules of, instead of just embracing who he really was, a master hustler who played the industry game and won on his own terms. You can buy hits, you can buy fashion, you can buy airtime, but you can't buy respect. The streets remember every move, every word, every exaggerated flex. And while Jim Jones might keep his name buzzing forever, real respect in hip hop, that's the one thing he was never able to earn.
Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like in the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when balling took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing.
And at this point, maybe never will. He made it in the game, but he never earned the game's respect. And in the end, for a man from Harlem, that might be the only loss that truly matters. Thanks for watching Behind the Fame. This case is closed, but the conversation is just getting started. Let me know in the comments what other hip-hop mystery we should investigate next. Whose legacy needs a deep dive? Whose story is misunderstood? Your suggestion could be our next video.